Today we are going to take a look at some sample exam questions. And the first question is for a driving permit eligibility checker. Let's take a look at the instructions. We have to help determine if a person is eligible, and for that we have to follow these steps. First, the program has to ask for the person's age using this prompt. Next, if the person is under 18, then the program has to ask if they have guardian consent using this prompt. Next, the program has to ask, did the person pass the written test? Type yes or no using this prompt. How eligibility is decided is using these conditions. If the person is 18 or older and passed the written test, then they are eligible. If the person is under 18, pass the test and have guardian consent, then they are eligible. And in all other cases, they are not eligible. Let's take a look at some sample run examples. And in both cases, the person is under 18 and they have guardian consent. And in the first case, the first sample run, they passed the written test, so the person is eligible. But in the second sample run, the person did not pass the written test because the user input no when asked, and the person is not eligible. So let's start writing the program. We don't have to write a function, so we can just start by using a while loop, which is forever true. And here, first of all, we need to get the age input by the user. So for this, we will store it in this variable age input, age underscore input, and we will use the input method. The prompt we will give it will be the one that's already in the instructions, so we don't make a mistake. We'll just copy it from there and paste it here. Once we have the age, we need to make sure that this variable has digits or is a digit, because it's possible that uh, the user enters the age as words or a phrase, which is not what we want. We need to be able to compare it as an integer. So if the age is a digit, then we will convert it or typecast it into an integer and store it in a new variable called age. And then we will break out of this loop. Otherwise, we need to prompt our user that the input is invalid and they need to enter a whole number. And then, of course, it will loop back again. Now, the answer to both of the other questions can be yes or no, and only the prompt differs. So let's just define a function here, get yes or no, and we will pass it a string as a prompt. And what this will do is that it will get the response from the user using the input function, and the prompt will be the prompt that has been passed to it as an argument. And then, because the answer could be yes or no, but it should be the same whether it is in uppercase or lowercase or a mix. So we will then use the lower function to convert it into lowercase and then compare. So if the response is one of the responses that we define in this list, and here we will have those two options, yes and no, then it is a valid response and the function should return that response. Otherwise, we should inform the user by printing that it is an invalid input, and they should type yes or no. So that was the function to get yes or no as an answer. Now, after we have got the age and the age is a valid age, that is, it is a number, a whole number, then we need to check whether the age is 18 or older, or whether it is less than 18. Because if it is less than 18, then we need to ask for the guardian consent. So here, first of all, let's just define a variable called guardian consent and initialize it as no. Next, we will see if age is less than 18, then we will ask for the guardian consent and store it in this variable using the function we just defined, get yes or no. And the prompt that we will give it will be this one, has the guardian consent, type yes or no, and we'll just copy it from the instructions so we don't make a mistake. The next thing we need to do is to find out whether the person has passed the written test or not. So again, initially, let's just initialize it as no, this variable written underscore test. And now we will get the, we'll prompt the user using this function that we defined just now, get yes or no. And the prompt will be, did the person pass the written test? Type yes or no. Now we need to check the eligibility, and we can see over here how the eligibility is decided. If the person is 18 or older and passed the written test, then they are eligible. If the person is under 18, passed the test and has guardian consent, then they are eligible. And in all other cases, they are not eligible. So let's start with the first case. If age is greater than or equal to 18, so this goes for 18 or older, and they have passed the written test. So for this, the value of the written test variable should be equal to yes. And in this case, the program should print the person is eligible. And again, we'll just copy from the instructions so that we do not make a mistake. The second case when the person is eligible is if the person is less than 18. So if the age is less than 18, and this should be an else condition. And they have passed the written test. So the value of the written test variable equals yes, and they have guardian consent. So the value of the guardian consent variable is also equal to yes. Then we can print that the person is eligible, or the program has to print that the person is eligible. In all other conditions, the program should print that the person is not eligible. So we'll just copy this from here and paste it here. Now let's check if our program is correct and it passes the test cases. Oh, so there's a mistake here, a syntax mistake. This is supposed to be if response in yes, no. So let's check it again. And now we have passed all the test cases.